Hello everyone, hope you're all having a great day. Welcome to the second episode of Brunei Reddit Edition, where we dive into various topics and concerns about Brunei, as well as exploring what Brunei Redditors have to say. If you missed the first episode, be sure to check it out where I cover Brunei's strange rule during Ramadan. As always, I'll be running some random gameplay footage in the background, so you have something to watch while I talk. For this episode, I wanted to discuss the state of tourism in Brunei, sharing my own thought and looking at how Bruneian on Reddit feel about it. If you've never been to Brunei or don't live here, I honestly wouldn't recommend visiting, and here's why. Out of all the Southeast Asian countries, Brunei is easily the most boring. Strict restriction and red tape make it a less enjoyable destination, and while other countries offer rich culture and entertainment, Brunei focus is almost entirely on religious matter. Some might disagree and say Brunei isn't boring, but let's be real. Bruneians themselves love going to Miri, and at times certain towns in Brunei feel completely empty as seen in this Reddit post and article. If Brunei was truly exciting, people wouldn't constantly travel to Malaysia for entertainment, food and shopping.
Quiet because the authorities are not business-minded people, qualified to collect month-end salary only. They are not sincere to improve the economies through tourism, entrepreneurs, businesses till the country die down. Just watch what we are observing every day, months, year, decades till 2035. All from top to bottom, leaders regrets all the consequences annually. Nothing has changed since decades ago. That's already proven. It's pretty boring shopping in Brunei. When will government realise most Bruneians do not spend their hard-earned cash in Brunei? People go to Sarawak or KL, I will be doing the same.
What even more disappointing is that Brunei wasn't always like this. If you were born in the late 2000s or never experienced Brunei before the 90s, you miss its golden era, a time when Brunei was thriving and considered one of the best places to visit. Just look at all the big-name celebrities who used to perform here.
When two idiots ruined the future of Brunei and tourism. Look at how Singapore performs such a small country yet blooming. Imagine we don't have this two old clowns. I think HM will be swimming in his pool full of USD/SGD right now, smiling and enjoying his life happily. Wawasan not just 2035, wawasan 2025 achievable.
Dua idiot mana satu?
Bottom right too.
Alahai lots to uncover, but slowly banyak Bruneians buka mata dah. Indah lagi dapat ditipu in the name of religion.
We could have K-pop. You know, UKIS was going to do a fan meeting back in 2013 to 14 or so, but Mora last minute shut down the FM codes. They didn't like the boys performing for the fans. Fortunately, Mora is able to influence the decisions to ban all this. Otherwise, this country may lost their identity and directions. Good job, Mora. You saved many Miri businesses. Love from your neighbours.
And then there's the natural beauty. Over 70% of Brunei is covered in forests, yet it remains untapped for tourism.
Brunei has taken a couple of steps forward with abode and mangrove. Privately owned but supported by government again, it failed miserably as structures doesn't mean nothing without international standard of service, entertainment, management. Bureaucracy has prevented us from achieving this. Tourists look for entertainment, and entertainment is a bad word in Brunei.
Even karaoke singing is prohibited.
K-box pun indah sanggup, last tu karaoke di bilik sendiri saja.
Brunei backward. No wonder kids turn to drug for excitement. I have known kids turn to burglary just for kicks. Whose fault is it? Mora. Sunpun turned to commit crime. Must be bored.
You know why the government is not investing? They keep talking about public-private partnerships. Does any private entity want to invest? I leave you to answer.
No private company in Brunei is rich enough to take up a mega tourism project. Given current state of Brunei tourism, no FDI wants to invest either. Just like Empire, Brunei government got to build something up. This was how Dubai kickstarted its tourism sectors last time, build all those infra and facilities by its own. But Brunei's leadership prefer to burn money on palaces, mansions, watches, supercars, gold, rather than economic projects. This is already a habit since 1984. They see the country's money as all theirs. To them, spending on socio-economic projects burden them and making them less able to spend on luxuries, and hence why the people are told to be grateful.
My cousin came from Canada, and recently, friends from Korea, where to bring them? No alcohol, no smoking, and no karaoke lounge. Bring them to Kuala Lumpur N on the way. He has 3 cigarettes in his trousers, They also threatened to charge him with criminal offence. In fact, he paid the duties on his cigarettes already when he landed at the airport. Very unfriendly to tourists. Who want to come? Brunei has nothing to attract tourists, and the immigration and custom officers very rude and unwelcoming. Forget about tourism. I ended up taking them to Labuan, NKK and back.
Even the beach here often feel deserted and barren. Countries with far fewer natural resources have built massive tourism industry, so why hasn't Brunei? One Redditor even compiled the opinion of 60 travel vloggers who visited Brunei. The summary? Underwhelming.
From internet search, most tourists understand that there are not much tall, flashy buildings in Brunei, but still, many rich European states have that same characteristic, so people assume Brunei, a wealthy place, should be somewhat like that. Most expected that, in a rich country like Brunei, the buildings and infrastructure should be well maintained. Many are surprised to find the place run down and aging, including at the town center. They say they really don't see much wealth on normal streets, unlike in Dubai, Singapore, Switzerland. Many are frustrated by poor and irregular public transport system and the sad state of buses in Brunei, a number of them with malfunctioned air cons due to lack of maintenance. Walking is also not an option. Not many people walk in Brunei, and the pedestrian walkway are mostly unsheltered. You will be fully exposed to the sun. Getting from one place to another is difficult. There is DART, but costs rack up fast. To really explore around Brunei, you will need to rent a car. Tourist infrastructure is not so developed. There is really nothing much to do and see beyond 3 days in Brunei. There are jungles and ecotourism packages in Brunei. But with a rather underdeveloped tourist facilities, you can get a much better deal at neighboring East Malaysia, and more fun too. In addition, there is no walk-in at Temburong. You must book a tour. Eating out in Brunei is also comparatively more expensive than most other Southeast Asian countries in general, though as usual, in any places, there are always cheap food available if you know where to look. Tourists also complained that Brunei internet data plan is comparatively more expensive than others in the region based on their quota provided. On the positive side, most tourists find Bruneians to be warm, friendly, pleasant, and always ready to offer help. Brunei is also a place where if you don't mind some of the restrictions, you can retreat to an environment of peace and tranquility at a fraction of the cost of other regional high-end equivalents. Overall, Brunei is a country most tourists will only visit once due to very underdeveloped tourist infrastructure, with exception of few unique landmarks. Many feel it is just like another town in Malaysia.
I will go over some of their key takeaways in this video.
I feel like the only independent tourists that choose to come to Brunei are those that are on a bucket list to travel to every country in the world, LOL. Seen a lot of white backpackers that post travel content on TikTok? Most of them travel around sea extensively. One lady stayed in CA for 8 months, yet like most of them, didn't bother coming to Brunei. I'm also in a Facebook group for Borneo travel, and very few people there include Brunei in their itinerary. Also saw a Malaysian Malay dude that ranked Brunei as the most boring country he's been to.
Yes, a significant amount of them are, I want to visit the world or X number of countries, and Brunei conveniently add to their country count. Under normal circumstances, not many people will visit Brunei, and for those ever visited, the return rate is low.
Very sad indeed. The 3 days max to see everything in Brunei is so true. I used to attend a foreign couple who initially planned to stay for a week at Empire Brunei, but shortened their stay in 3 days because they have already gone to all the places they wanted in Brunei. Kinda embarrassing though.
Don't be embarrassed. There are many places in the world where there's nowhere more to go after 3 days. Miri is probably a good comparison city where this description is true as well.
As a person who lives both Miri and Brunei, it's kinda incomparable. Miri's events are bigger than Brunei's by a mile shot. In a month, there's always something happening that draws in crowds. But in Brunei, it's almost the same thing over and over again. Take mall example, car show, Hual-Hualan. In Miri example, we have Pokemon official event, red jumpsuit apparatus band playing, concerts. Lego event, a Comic-Con event bigger than Brunei's, and not to mention the beaches event.
I recently visited Borneo with a brief 3-day stop in Brunei. While there were a few highlights, the biggest challenge I faced was the lack of reliable public transportation. I was surprised that Brunei's infrastructure wasn't as developed as I expected, and even DART, the local ride-hailing service, didn't feel practical for getting around. That said, the people were incredibly kind and welcoming. My main goal was to explore Borneo's rich culture and natural beauty. Sabah, in particular, was absolutely breathtaking, and to tick it off my Southeast Asia bucket list. In Brunei, aside from the Brunei River, with its mangroves and proboscis monkeys, Kampong Ayer and Ulu Temburong, which was quite difficult to access, there wasn't much else to see. I hope the government can create more programs or tours to better showcase the local culture and natural attractions for travellers. Improving public infrastructure and transportation would also be a game changer for tourism in Brunei. By the way, I'm Filipino. I truly hope to see more development in the future so I can return to your peaceful and lovely country.
If you ever plan to visit Brunei, 3 days more than enough, as many traveler and Redditors suggest. It's embarrassing that Miri, a small town in Sarawak, offers more variety in food, entertainment, nightlife, event and shopping than Brunei does. If the government doesn't remove restrictive policy and make Brunei more welcoming to tourists and investors, the country will struggle to survive once oil runs out in the next 10 to 15 years. Brunei leaders should learn from Mohammed bin Salman. He transformed Saudi Arabia into a global travel hotspot while still maintaining Islamic value. Dubai is another great example of a thriving Muslim-majority nation that attracts visitors worldwide. That's pretty much it for this video. I plan to make part 2 of this topic because there's still so much to cover. If you are interested in more videos like this, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated. Also, don't forget to like and share this video as it really helps this channel out. Thanks for watching and I hope you all have a wonderful day.